another. Here's Rooney! Oh my goodness me! Rooney!
He's one of English football's greatest players.
Rooney! Oh, wonderful!
He's won it all as a player.
It's Rooney! Oh my word!
And for the past 4 years, he's been trying to make it in the dugout.
What a player! Wayne Rooney out of this world!
So will Wayne Rooney be a successful football manager? Look, Wayne Rooney had the playing career of dreams, but he's not had the same success so far in his short managerial career. From overseeing a crisis club to turning a promising project into a crisis club, it's been a rollercoaster few years for Wazza on the sidelines. But still just aged 39, it's early days in his managerial career. So could he one day be managing in the Premier League? Let's find out. I'm Ryan Dilks from The Second Tier, and this is Will Wayne Rooney be a successful manager? Let's begin where his managerial career started off. Derby County. He took over as the interim manager in November of 2020, replacing the outgoing Philip Cocu. He was part of a 4-man management team, which included Shay Given, Justin Walker, and most notably, Liam Rosenior. Worth remembering Liam Rosenior is here while we talk about Derby County. Rooney didn't have a great start to life in management. He won just 3 of his first 13 games in charge, with Derby failing to score in 8 of those games. It left the Rams in serious danger of going down. Despite that, Rooney was made the permanent Derby manager, and things improved dramatically. They would go on to win 6 games from 8, and it even led to Rooney being linked with the Celtic job. However, things took a drastic turn once again as Derby would go on to win just 7 points from their final 15 games of that season. They would stay up by the skin of their teeth on the final day, but Rooney faced a lot of criticism for his in-game management and poor defensive record. Rooney would hold on to his job that summer, but he faced a lot of pressure to show that he has what it takes to be a manager. However, a storm was brewing off the pitch for Derby County. Derby were under serious financial pressure, losing around £1.5 million a month. They would go into administration in September of 2021, with the club at serious risk of going out of business. On the pitch, it wasn't looking good for Derby either. In time, they would get deducted 21 points for their financial issues. They started off the season with just 13 players and were also under a transfer embargo. It's arguably the most difficult set of circumstances any manager has had to deal with in the Championship, but Wayne Rooney owned it. Derby won 55 points that season. It wasn't enough to keep them up due to the points deductions, but if they didn't have them, they would have actually finished 17th. Rooney took the circumstances Derby were in and used it to rally his players, and his team, which was mostly made up of young players, did brilliantly that season. The fans got right behind them in the circumstances, and they felt proud of their team. Rooney got a lot of praise for the job he did, the work he did in developing young players, and the team's much improved defence. It would be very harsh to criticise the job Rooney did in his one full season at Derby, because it was always going to be near impossible to keep them up. The main thing you can question though is this: how much of that work was down to him? His assistant Liam Rosenior was a very highly rated coach and has gone on to do brilliantly at Hull and Strasbourg in France. He was credited with playing a big role at Derby under Rooney, and there's certainly a lot of similarities in how Derby played that season compared to the way Rosenior played at Hull. So was Rosenior actually the brains behind the operation while Rooney was the face? I guess we'll never know. After Derby's relegation, Rooney would leave to become the head coach of his former side, DC United, in the MLS. Now, I will admit I don't watch a lot of the MLS, it's not really my area of expertise, but 9 points from 14 games in his first season at DC United, and then 10 wins from 34 in his second season, missing out on the MLS playoffs twice, doesn't scream success. It wouldn't be long until Wazza was back on these shores though, because in October of 2023 he would become the manager of Birmingham City. Ah yes, Wayne Rooney's spell at Birmingham City. Yeah. So for those who aren't aware, Birmingham were doing pretty well at the time. John Eustace was in charge and had Birmingham sat in the top 6, a pretty remarkable thing to do at a club who hadn't finished above 17th for the previous 7 seasons. But he was sacked with the club saying the board of directors and management need to be fully aligned on the culture of the football club. Wayne Rooney was named as his replacement, with the club saying he would bring a clear, no-fear playing style to Birmingham City. I will point out Derby were the 4th lowest scorers in the division in Rooney's only full season as a manager in English football up until that point. So what exactly do you mean by no fear football? So it was a brave decision to sack John Eustace and bring Wayne Rooney in. So how well did he get on? Well, here's every result from that reign. Loss, 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 draw, loss, win, loss, draw, loss, win, loss, draw, loss, draw, loss, sacked. Birmingham City went from 6th in the Championship at the start of Wayne Rooney's reign to 20th in 83 days. They won just 10 points from his 15 games in charge. No one won fewer points than them in that time. They also conceded the most goals and lost all but 3 games on XG as well. This reign was an unequivocal disaster. Birmingham would go on to get relegated, and a large portion of that is down to Wayne Rooney's reign. Yes, he left 5 months before they went down, but that spell completely derailed Birmingham's season and they never recovered. There is usually some sort of positive you can take from every managerial reign, no matter how bad it goes, but there genuinely isn't one you can take from this spell. And Rooney spent most of his time there blaming the players for not being fit enough. This was, without a doubt in my mind, the single worst managerial reign in Championship history. I struggle to see how one could be much worse. So it was a bruising spell for Wayne Rooney's managerial career, and I will be honest, I thought that was it for him at Championship level. I didn't think anyone would go near him after that omni-shambles at Birmingham City, so I was rather surprised to see him back in the dugout less than 6 months later. This video is brought to you by our good friends at SBK. If you haven't heard of them yet, then where have you been? SBK's comprehensive range of markets and exclusive offers makes it the best place to bet on the Championship this season. Whether you're creating an accumulator or customising your bet builder, SBK has got you covered. Don't believe us? Sign up today and find out. He was named as the new manager of Plymouth Argyle in May of 2024, with the club saying he had a clear appetite to prove himself. So how have things gone so far? Well, they've had some very impressive results, such as being one of only 2 teams to beat Sunderland so far this season, and a brilliant 3-1 win against Luton. But they've had more games where they've been completely outclassed than won. Look, as I sit here right now watching a lot of Championship football every week, I can say that I would be very surprised if Plymouth actually stayed up this season. That's not all down to Wayne Rooney though. In fairness to him, Plymouth were lucky to stay up last season. They were a club who really struggled in the second half of the campaign, and if the season was 2 or 3 games longer, the chances are that he would have actually gone down. He's also working with one of the smallest budgets in the division, and it's without a doubt one of the weakest squads in the Championship. There's some of the defences you can make of Wayne Rooney. However, here's what you can say against him. Plymouth's underlying data is absolutely miserable. They're bottom of the Championship in terms of expected goals and expected goals against. In their first 13 games, they've just won 1 on expected goals. They've lost 6 of them by at least 1 expected goal. They're very reliant on their 2 wingers, Ibrahim Sissoko and Morgan Whittaker. They've either scored or set up more than half of Plymouth's league goals at the time of recording, and even just watching them, the tactic is clear that it's just pass to them and see what happens. A big issue with that now is Ibrahim Sissoko this week has been ruled out until 2025 for injury. I know you can say, well, he's working with what he's got, and I get that, but one of Rooney's main jobs as a coach is to make players better, and one of his big tests now is to develop players and make them have more of an impact. He's desperately got to do that now. And one big issue that's actually dogged Wayne Rooney throughout his career in management is his results in away games. This season with Plymouth, he's won just 1 point from 7 games, 1 goal scored and 16 conceded. Now, Plymouth fans will tell you, well, they've struggled away from home even before Wayne Rooney, and that is true. But if you dig a bit deeper, in his management career in England, Wayne Rooney has been in charge of 54 away games. He's won just 8 of them. So let's look to the future and figure out what's next for Wayne Rooney. If he keeps Plymouth up, then fair play to him. He'll continue managing at Championship level and we can reassess things then. I would say the much more likely scenario, though, is Plymouth go down this season. So what then? Well, the first question that's got to be asked is, will he last the season there? Rooney reportedly signed a 3-year deal with Plymouth, so I would assume they plan on keeping him unless things go terribly. So if they go down, what then? Will he want to manage in League One? I don't know. He left Derby after they got relegated, so there's a very good chance that he won't. The other thing is he's such a big name that it doesn't really matter how he does as a manager in England, because he'll probably get a very well paid job somewhere no matter what. Most likely in Saudi Arabia. Rooney did reveal that he actually turned down a job there earlier this year, but I wouldn't rule out a return to the MLS either. Although maybe if it doesn't work out for him at Plymouth, maybe he'll just retire and do some punditry work every so often. What I'm trying to say is I find it very difficult to see him successfully managing at a higher level than he is now. You have to give Wayne Rooney credit though. He's made a lot of money from football in his playing days and could have very easily chosen to retire completely or become a pundit, but he's tried to make a career out of football management. Now, some big name players who have gone into football management, they wouldn't have taken a job like Plymouth Argyle. They would have seen it as beneath them. At least Rooney is willing to cut his teeth at the bottom end of the Championship with a club who don't have a huge budget. At least he's come back after that Birmingham spell and said, I've got something to prove here. You have to take your hat off to him in that regard. And you might not believe me after watching this video, but I would love it if Wayne Rooney was a successful manager for all of the reasons I've just stated. He clearly wants to be one. Unfortunately, if Plymouth do go down this season, I think that will probably be it for him as a manager in the top two divisions of English football. Then it's up to him what he wants to do next. Have a go at managing in League One, maybe even League Two, possibly go abroad, or just say, I tried my best and it didn't work out. And as long as he has done that and he has tried his best, you have got to give your full respect to it. There you go. Those are my thoughts on it. What do you think? Do you think Wayne Rooney will be a successful football manager? Let me know in the comments section below. If you've enjoyed the video, make sure you like and subscribe for more content like this. I'm Dilks from the Second Tier, and we'll be back again very soon.